The Trojan cycle and Theban cycle are two of the most significant and enduring series in Greek mythology, known as mythological cycles. A mythological cycle is a collection of interconnected myths that revolve around specific themes, characters, or events, often reflecting the cultural values and beliefs of a society. These cycles serve as narrative frameworks, weaving together individual stories to form a cohesive tapestry of myth and legend. The Trojan cycle chronicles the events surrounding the Trojan War, including its heroes and the eventual fall of Troy, highlighting themes of fate, heroism, and hubris. Meanwhile, the Theban cycle delves into the tragic saga of Oedipus and the doomed house of Thebes, exploring themes of destiny, justice, and human frailty. Together, these cycles offer profound insights into the complexities of human existence and have influenced literature, drama, and philosophy for centuries. The Trojan cycle. The Trojan cycle is a series of stories that revolve around the legendary city of Troy, its heroes, and the epic war between the Greeks and Trojans. It is a saga filled with love, betrayal, heroism, and tragedy, encapsulating the complexity of human emotions and the timeless struggle between fate and free will. The judgment of Paris. The seeds of the Trojan War were sown at the wedding of Peleus and Thetis, where all the gods were invited except Eris, the goddess of discord. Angered by this slight, Eris threw a golden apple among the guests, inscribed with the words "for the fairest." The apple was claimed by three goddesses, Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. Unable to decide who deserved it, they turned to Paris, a Trojan prince known for his fairness and beauty. Paris was promised various rewards by each goddess. Hera offered him power and dominion over all Asia. Athena promised wisdom and skill in war. Aphrodite, however, offered the love of the most beautiful mortal woman, Helen of Sparta. Paris chose Aphrodite, setting the stage for the conflict that would engulf Troy, the abduction of Helen. Helen was the wife of King Menelaus of Sparta and renowned for her unmatched beauty. With Aphrodite's assistance, Paris visited Sparta and wooed Helen, eventually spiriting her away to Troy. This act of betrayal incensed Menelaus and led him to call upon the Greek kings to honor their oaths to defend Helen's marriage. Among those who answered the call were Agamemnon, king of Mycenae and brother of Menelaus, Odysseus, king of Ithaca, and the mighty Achilles. The abduction of Helen was not just an act of personal betrayal but an affront to the entire Greek world. It was perceived as a violation of sacred hospitality laws, and the Greeks saw it as their duty to retrieve Helen and punish Troy for this transgression. Thus began the journey to Troy, a campaign that would last for a decade and leave a lasting mark on all involved. The Trojan War. The war began with the Greeks amassing a vast fleet and setting sail for Troy. Upon their arrival, they were met with fierce resistance from the Trojans, who were led by King Priam and his noble sons, Hector and Paris. The Greeks laid siege to the city, but Troy's walls, built by Poseidon and Apollo, were formidable and nearly impregnable. The Iliad, an epic poem attributed to Homer, captures the essence of the Trojan War's later years, focusing on the rage of Achilles, the greatest Greek warrior. Achilles' conflict with Agamemnon over a captive woman, Briseis, leads to his withdrawal from battle, which has dire consequences for the Greek forces. Hector, Troy's prince and greatest defender, becomes the central figure of the Trojan defense. His sense of duty and honor stands in stark contrast to Achilles' personal vendettas. The duel between Hector and Achilles is one of the war's climactic moments, ending with Hector's death and foreshadowing Troy's eventual fall. The death of Achilles. Achilles' rage and prowess in battle are unmatched, but he is not invincible. His mother, Thetis, dipped him in the river Styx as a child, rendering him nearly immortal, except for his heel, which she held onto during the process. This vulnerability becomes his undoing. Paris, aided by Apollo, strikes Achilles with an arrow to his heel, resulting in the hero's death. The loss of Achilles is a severe blow to the Greeks, but it also marks a turning point in the war, galvanizing the Greek forces to press on with renewed vigor. Achilles' armor becomes the subject of further conflict, leading to Ajax's downfall. The hero's fall emphasizes themes of fate, hubris, and the transient nature of glory, underscoring the cycle of revenge and tragedy that permeates the Trojan myths. The fall of Troy. With Achilles gone, the Greeks resort to cunning rather than brute strength. Odysseus, renowned for his wit and intelligence, devises the plan of the Trojan horse. The Greeks construct a massive wooden horse, hiding warriors inside, and leave it as a supposed offering to the gods while feigning retreat. The Trojans, believing the war to be over, bring the horse into the city as a victory trophy. That night, the Greek warriors emerge from the horse, opening the gates for the Greek army, which had secretly returned. The city of Troy is sacked, its people slaughtered or enslaved, and its great walls reduced to ruins. The fall of Troy marks the culmination of the Greek vengeance but also highlights the cost of war. The once proud city is destroyed, and its people scattered, symbolizing the destructive power of human pride and the inexorable nature of fate. The Aeneid and the founding of Rome. The tale of Troy's fall does not end with its destruction. One of its heroes, Aeneas, escapes the burning city with a group of survivors, carrying his elderly father and the household gods of Troy. His journey, chronicled in Virgil's Aeneid, takes him across the seas, facing numerous trials before he reaches Italy. Aeneas's destiny is to found a new city, which will become the precursor to Rome. This myth bridges Greek and Roman mythology, highlighting themes of duty, perseverance, and the founding of civilizations. It underscores the notion that even in defeat, there is hope for renewal and rebirth. The returns. The Greek heroes' return journeys, known as the Nostoi, are fraught with challenges and serve as a continuation of the Trojan cycle. Each hero faces unique trials that reflect their character and past actions during the war. Odysseus's journey. Odysseus's 10-year voyage home to Ithaca is filled with adventures and misfortunes. His encounters with the Cyclops, Circe, and the Sirens test his wit and resolve. The Odyssey is a tale of homecoming and transformation, emphasizing themes of identity, perseverance, and the enduring nature of the human spirit. Agamemnon's return. Agamemnon's return to Mycenae is marked by betrayal and murder at the hands of his wife, Clytemnestra, and her lover, Aegisthus. This story is central to Aeschylus's Oresteia, exploring themes of justice, revenge, and the consequences of war. Menelaus and Helen. Menelaus and Helen eventually return to Sparta, where they reign peacefully, but their journey home is marred by challenges, reflecting the enduring legacy of the Trojan War and its impact on relationships and society. The Oresteia. The Oresteia, a trilogy by Aeschylus, delves into the aftermath of the Trojan War and the cycle of vengeance within Agamemnon's family. The trilogy includes Agamemnon. The first play depicts Agamemnon's return and murder by Clytemnestra, highlighting themes of betrayal and justice. The Libation Bearers. Orestes, Agamemnon's son, returns to avenge his father's death, killing Clytemnestra and Aegisthus. This act of matricide sets off a chain of retribution. The Eumenides. The final play follows Orestes as he is pursued by the Furies for his crime. The cycle of vengeance is broken with the establishment of the Areopagus, a court of law, symbolizing the transition from personal vendetta to a system of justice. The Oresteia explores themes of justice, morality, and societal evolution, reflecting the enduring impact of the Trojan War on Greek thought and culture. The Theban cycle. The Theban cycle centers around the city of Thebes and the doomed house of Cadmus. These myths explore themes of fate, power, and human frailty, encapsulating the tragic nature of the Theban royal family. The founding of Thebes. The story of Thebes begins with Cadmus, a Phoenician prince and brother of Europa. Sent to find his sister, who was abducted by Zeus, Cadmus eventually finds himself in Boeotia. There, he encounters a dragon and slays it, sowing its teeth into the ground. From these teeth spring armed warriors, who fight among themselves until only a few remain. These warriors become the ancestors of Thebes' noble families. Cadmus marries Harmonia, daughter of Ares and Aphrodite, and together they establish the city of Thebes. This myth reflects themes of struggle, divine intervention, and the foundation of civilization through violence and perseverance. The story of Oedipus. The story of Oedipus is central to the Theban cycle, exploring themes of fate, identity, and the tragic flaws of humanity. Laius and Jocasta. King Laius of Thebes receives a prophecy that his son will kill him and marry his wife, Jocasta. To prevent this, he abandons his newborn son on a mountainside, but the child is rescued and raised by the royal family of Corinth. Oedipus's journey. Oedipus leaves Corinth to avoid the prophecy that he will kill his father and marry his mother, unaware that the king and queen of Corinth are not his biological parents. On his journey, he encounters a chariot at a crossroads, driven by none other than King Laius of Thebes, his real father. A dispute ensues, and in a fit of rage, Oedipus kills Laius and his attendants, unknowingly fulfilling part of the prophecy. Continuing his journey, Oedipus arrives at Thebes, a city plagued by the monstrous Sphinx. The Sphinx poses a riddle to all who attempt to enter the city, devouring those who fail to solve it. Oedipus confronts the Sphinx, answering its riddle correctly and thereby saving the city. As a reward, the grateful citizens make Oedipus their king, and he marries the widowed queen Jocasta, completing the second part of the prophecy. The truth revealed. For years, Oedipus rules Thebes wisely and peacefully, fathering 4 children with Jocasta, Eteocles, Polynices, Antigone, and Ismene. However, a plague strikes Thebes, prompting Oedipus to seek the cause. Consulting the oracle at Delphi, he learns that the city's suffering is due to an unavenged murder, the death of King Laius. Determined to find the culprit, Oedipus vows to bring the murderer to justice. His investigation, however, leads him to the shocking revelation of his true identity. The prophet Tiresias, though initially reluctant, eventually confirms that Oedipus himself is the murderer and that Laius and Jocasta are his true parents. Overwhelmed by the truth, Jocasta takes her own life, and Oedipus blinds himself in despair. He relinquishes the throne and goes into exile, accompanied by his devoted daughter, Antigone. The tragedy of Oedipus highlights themes of fate versus free will, the search for truth, and the inevitability of destiny, encapsulating the tragic flaws inherent in humanity. The Seven against Thebes. The curse of Oedipus continues to haunt his descendants. After his exile, his sons, Eteocles and Polynices, agree to share the throne of Thebes, ruling in alternate years. However, Eteocles refuses to relinquish power after his first year, prompting Polynices to gather an army of Argive warriors to besiege Thebes. This conflict is famously depicted in Aeschylus's play Seven against Thebes. The play follows the heroic defense of the city by Eteocles and his allies against the seven champions leading the Argive forces. The brothers eventually face each other in combat, and both are killed, fulfilling the curse of mutual destruction placed upon them by their father, Oedipus. The Theban cycle's exploration of fraternal conflict, loyalty, and the destructive nature of power underscores the theme of inevitable tragedy that pervades the myths of Thebes. Antigone's defiance. After the deaths of Eteocles and Polynices, Creon, Jocasta's brother, becomes the king of Thebes. Creon decrees that Eteocles will receive a hero's burial, while Polynices, labeled a traitor, will be left unburied as punishment. Antigone, driven by familial loyalty and moral conviction, defies Creon's edict and buries her brother Polynices, believing that divine law supersedes human law. Her actions lead to her arrest, and despite the pleas of her fiancé, Haemon, Creon's son, Creon sentences Antigone to death. The tragedy of Antigone, immortalized in Sophocles' play, examines themes of civil disobedience, the conflict between individual morals and state law, and the consequences of pride and stubbornness. Antigone's unwavering resolve and Creon's inflexible rule lead to further tragedy, culminating in the deaths of Antigone, Haemon, and Creon's wife, Eurydice. The Epigoni. Following the catastrophic events of the Seven against Thebes, the sons of the original seven Argive warriors, known as the Epigoni, seek to avenge their father's deaths. 10 years after the initial conflict, the Epigoni launch a successful campaign against Thebes, ultimately capturing and destroying the city. The myth of the Epigoni explores themes of vengeance and the cyclical nature of violence. The fall of Thebes at the hands of the Epigoni serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of past actions and the relentless passage of time that perpetuates cycles of conflict. The birth of Dionysus. Another significant myth within the Theban cycle is the story of Dionysus, the god of wine and revelry, whose birth and exploits are intertwined with Theban history. Dionysus is the son of Zeus and Semele, a mortal princess of Thebes. When Hera, Zeus's wife, learns of this affair, she tricks Semele into demanding to see Zeus in his divine form, which leads to her destruction. Zeus saves the unborn Dionysus by sewing him into his thigh, and later the god is born from Zeus himself. This miraculous birth earns Dionysus the title of twice born. He grows up away from Thebes but eventually returns to claim his divine heritage. The story of Dionysus, notably explored in Euripides as the Bacchae, emphasizes themes of identity, transformation, and the duality of human nature. The gods' interactions with Thebes, particularly with King Pentheus, showcase the clash between order and chaos, reason and ecstasy, and the consequences of denying one's true nature. Tiresias, the blind prophet. Tiresias, the blind prophet of Thebes, plays a significant role in multiple Theban myths. Known for his wisdom and prophetic abilities, Tiresias is a figure who bridges the human and divine realms. His life is marked by unique experiences, such as his transformation into a woman and back into a man, and his ability to understand both sides of the mortal and divine worlds. Tiresias serves as a voice of truth and foresight in Thebes, often providing guidance and warnings that go unheeded by those in power. His presence in the myths underscores the themes of knowledge, transformation, and the limits of human understanding. Tiresias's insights highlight the complexities of fate and the struggles between ignorance and enlightenment. The myth of Niobe. The story of Niobe, a queen of Thebes, is another poignant myth within the Theban cycle. Niobe, the daughter of Tantalus and wife of Amphion, boasts of her numerous children and claims superiority over Leto, the mother of Artemis and Apollo. Offended by Niobe's arrogance, Artemis and Apollo punish her by killing all her children. Niobe's grief transforms her into a stone, forever weeping for her lost children. This myth serves as a cautionary tale about pride and hubris, exploring the consequences of challenging the divine and the devastating impact of unchecked vanity. Themes and impact of the Trojan and Theban cycles. The Trojan cycle and Theban cycle are foundational components of Greek mythology, offering rich narratives that explore a wide range of themes, including fate, hubris, justice, and the complexities of human nature. Their influence extends beyond mythology into literature, art, and philosophy, resonating throughout Western culture and beyond. Themes of fate and free will. Both cycles grapple with the concept of fate and free will, questioning the extent to which individuals can control their destinies. The stories often depict characters attempting to escape or defy prophesied outcomes, only to find themselves inadvertently fulfilling them. This tension between fate and free will underscores the tragic nature of the myths and the inevitable suffering that accompanies human existence. In the Trojan cycle, characters like Achilles and Hector are driven by fate toward their ultimate destinies, highlighting the inexorable pull of predetermined outcomes. Similarly, the Theban cycle's Oedipus and his descendants are ensnared by prophecies, illustrating the powerlessness of humans against divine will. Themes of hubris and punishment. Hubris, or excessive pride, is a recurring theme in both cycles, often leading to the downfall of characters who overstep their bounds. The myths warn against the dangers of arrogance and the consequences of challenging the gods or societal norms. In the Trojan cycle, the hubris of Paris in choosing Aphrodite over Hera and Athena sets the stage for the catastrophic war. Similarly, in the Theban cycle, characters like Creon and Niobe fall victim to their pride, resulting in personal and communal tragedy. Themes of justice and vengeance. The cycles explore complex themes of justice and vengeance, highlighting the consequences of violence and the cyclical nature of retribution. Characters grapple with moral dilemmas and the pursuit of justice, often leading to further bloodshed and suffering. The Trojan cycle's exploration of the war's aftermath, including the stories of the Nostoi and the Oresteia, delves into themes of revenge and the transition from personal vendetta to a more structured system of justice. The Theban cycle similarly examines the destructive cycle of vengeance within the house of Oedipus, emphasizing the need for resolution and reconciliation. Themes of identity and transformation. Identity and transformation are indeed central to the myths within both the Trojan cycle and the Theban cycle. These themes explore how characters change in response to external forces and internal realizations, often leading to profound personal and societal consequences. Oedipus, a journey of self-discovery. The story of Oedipus is perhaps one of the most compelling narratives in Greek mythology concerning identity. Oedipus's journey from a confident king to a tragic figure symbolizes the perilous quest for self-knowledge. Initially unaware of his true parentage, Oedipus's determined pursuit of truth leads him to a devastating realization. He has unwittingly fulfilled the prophecy of killing his father and marrying his mother. This revelation forces Oedipus to confront his own identity, resulting in his self-inflicted blindness and exile. This transformation from ignorance to knowledge highlights the inherent struggle between human curiosity and the often harsh truths that reality holds. Oedipus's story raises questions about the nature of identity, the limits of human understanding, and the cost of seeking the truth. Dionysus, the dual nature of divinity. The myth of Dionysus presents another exploration of identity and transformation. As a god born from Zeus and the mortal Semele, Dionysus embodies the duality of divine and human nature. His mythological journey includes being raised in a foreign land, returning to Thebes to claim his divine heritage, and facing opposition from those who deny his godhood, such as King Pentheus. Dionysus's narrative in the Bacchae by Euripides illustrates the tension between societal order and natural chaos. As the god of wine, ecstasy, and transformation, Dionysus challenges conventional norms and represents the liberating yet potentially destructive power of embracing one's true nature. His interactions with Thebes and the tragic fate of Pentheus serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of denying or suppressing one's identity and the balance between reason and emotion. The impact and significance of the Trojan and Theban cycles. The Trojan cycle and Theban cycle are more than just collections of myths, they are profound reflections on human experience and the complexities of life. They have left an indelible mark on literature, drama, and philosophy, shaping Western thought and continuing to resonate with audiences worldwide. Cultural and literary influence. These cycles have profoundly influenced Greek literature, especially through the works of epic poets like Homer and dramatists such as Sophocles, Aeschylus, and Euripides. The narratives have been retold and adapted countless times, forming the foundation for various genres and artistic expressions. The Trojan cycle, with its tales of heroism, war, and honor, inspired epic poems like the Iliad and Odyssey, which remain cornerstones of Western literature. The exploration of themes like the hero's journey, the cost of war, and the nature of glory has shaped countless stories and characters in literature and film. The Theban cycle, with its exploration of fate, identity, and tragedy, has been a source of inspiration for playwrights and storytellers. The themes of hubris, justice, and the search for truth have found their way into numerous plays and narratives, influencing works from ancient tragedies to modern psychological dramas. Philosophical reflections. The stories within these cycles have also contributed to philosophical discussions about fate, free will, morality, and the human condition. The tension between predestined outcomes and human agency, as seen in the lives of characters like Oedipus and Achilles, continues to provoke thought about the nature of destiny and the choices individuals make. Sophocles' Oedipus Rex is often studied for its philosophical implications regarding fate and self-awareness. The notion of Oedipus complex has even influenced psychoanalysis, particularly in the work of Sigmund Freud, illustrating the myth's enduring impact on psychology and human understanding. Societal and moral lessons. The cycles provide moral lessons about the dangers of hubris, the importance of justice, and the complexity of human emotions. The myths caution against excessive pride and highlight the consequences of ignoring divine or moral laws. In the Trojan cycle, the hubris of figures like Paris and Achilles leads to devastation and loss, emphasizing the need for humility and respect for others. The fall of Troy serves as a stark reminder of the fleeting nature of power and the inevitable downfall of those who overreach. In the Theban cycle, the stories of Oedipus, Antigone, and Creon explore the balance between personal morals and societal laws, illustrating the consequences of rigid thinking and lack of empathy. These narratives encourage reflection on the nature of justice and the importance of understanding and compassion in leadership and governance.